Okay, hello, Jim Vendiola. Tell people out there about your short film, Pretty Pickle.
So, Pretty Pickle is sort of a part comedy of errors, part modern romance, part horror film. Um, so it's almost like I liken it a little bit to like Francis Ha dates Psycho.
That's fun. That's quite an image right there.
Yeah, I mean they're both in black and white. Kind of got a little bit of that sort of I don't know. I think there's a aesthetic similarity between like your Psycho and your Night of the Living Dead, and then
Mm.
your deadpan indie comedy like Francis Ha or
Yeah.
even like Coffee and Cigarettes.
Ah, interesting. That's so that covers the why is it a black and white question.
Yeah, a little bit. I think it just like I was thinking about the content and sort of how referential the content was both implicitly and in more vague terms, and that is kind of how I landed on the sort of visual decision.
Cool. So, did you have fun in Montreal with the short during Fantasia Fest?
Montreal was great. It was
Yeah.
my first Fantasia attending and also participating with a film. So yeah, I mean, I couldn't have asked for anything more except for maybe that I didn't get to stay as long and see as much as I would have liked because it is a mammoth festival. So
Oh man, isn't ever. But like, who the hell could do all that? Who does 3 weeks? Oh my god.
Mitch, I guess, but he's got all that
Yeah.
energy. So.
I was talking to a producer once, and he said, "Did you say the 3 weeks? Does anyone say the 3 weeks? No
Yeah,
one
I mean,
says the 3 weeks
I did want to
unless you
go to
work
the
there."
I wanted to go to the market, and
Yeah,
do that kind of stuff and like see
Mm.
closing night. But my film played literally on the second day, so
yeah. But you were right there with John Woo. You got the John Woo activity, and it didn't
absolutely.
really top that. You can't really top that, right?
I mean, I can't really top watching Face Off with John Woo in the front row after he
Yeah,
introduced it for sure. Yeah, hard to beat.
very cool. Okay, so what other festivals has the short played at?
So I think it's gotten into its 12th festival as of today. I have to like be careful because I think there are like four I still can't announce yet. But so to
Okay,
date, it's played at the world premiere at Chattanooga. After
nice.
that was the international premiere at Fantasia. And then it played at Days of the Dead in Indianapolis. And then we just played at Chicago Underground last Thursday. And last Sunday, we were awarded Best Short Narrative at Chicago Underground. So that's pretty sweet. It's a lot of
Yeah.
fun. And then so the four upcoming ones are Holly Shorts 2 weekends from now, and then Defy. Defy is in East Nashville. Genre Blast in Virginia, and what's the other one? Camp Horror in Missoula, Montana. So
I got an email today about Holly Shorts. It looks pretty impressive.
yeah. I think I failed to send you my press release,
Ah,
but so you didn't get my email because I sent it out earlier today. But
uh,
yeah, it's a huge lineup. Yeah, it's
yeah, yeah. It was someone representing some stuff. I don't remember, and it was like so and so and so and so is involved. And I rarely read the full email. I skimmed it. I was like, oh, this seems very impressive.
yeah. Yeah, we're playing at midnight, which is
Nice.
fun because it's the
Yeah,
Midnight Madness block, but it'll
yeah.
also be a little more challenging, I think, to get all my LA peeps out to a midnight showing.
Ah,
So
nice. And will you
so
be in LA for that?
yeah, I'll be there for my screening and then a few days longer. I think I'm there for
Nice.
like 4 days for Holly Shorts. Yeah.
Oh, cool. And what theater does it play at?
It's at the Chinese Theater in Hollywood.
Oh my
So
God.
yes, and it's a kind of a bucket list thing. So we've got
Yeah.
we've got the DCP ready to go for the Chinese theater. It's in Auditorium One, I believe, but all the information's on the Holly Shorts website. So yeah.
I was in the Chinese theater. I saw Alita, the Battle Angel,
Oh, nice.
and yes, which is a decent movie. But I saw it on the big IMAX screen, And when you walk in there, when I walked in there, I had goosebumps. It was so beautiful. I've never seen a theater so majestic.
Yeah, I have walked around the outside. I was actually there like the day before the Oscars at
Yeah,
one point. So you see all the statues and they're covered in plastic.
right.
But I actually have never made it into the actual auditorium yet. So I'm excited about that. So
Nice. Yeah, the footprints and everything, all that stuff is so cool.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Hollywood, baby.
Yeah,
Okay,
man.
so you've done a bunch of film festivals. Tell people out there, how does Fantasia Fest compare to these other film festivals? What's like, just in terms of vibe, I guess.
Man, in terms of like programming, it's really hard to top because I mean, like we already said, like it's 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Everybody is kind of like scrambling to screen there, sort of like folks like me who kind of want to do more of this kind of stuff in the Fantasia wheelhouse, but also your John Woos who are like veterans and people like Edgar Wright and Tarantino, and so these sort of like heavy hitters in genre film,
Hmm.
and so it's kind of hard to top that. And the question was, how does
How does it compare? Being just a person on the ground at like these different spots.
yeah.
Is it just the same, or
Well,
is it a
that's
little
that's kind
different?
of like that is it's a unique experience in that regard from the quality of the programming, the consistently high quality of the programming, but also it is very much like a cinema nerds festival. Like
Yeah.
there is like this definite like fandom in a way that feels much cooler than like online toxic fandom, right? Like everybody
It's
just
true.
seems really excited and yeah, no, I think the energy is like very positive and supportive and especially after like 2 years of not having an in-person event, right? I think like the energy was like much very very excited that everyone got to be back and like
True.
check all the cool stuff out for sure. So
Absolutely. Okay, so let's talk about this short. So, have you wanted to make a kinky short for a while?
yeah, I mean, I think it's something that it's not my first time doing a kinky short. Like I made a previous one in 2017 that sort of dealt more with like a dom sub relationship. It was kind of
Oh my
a
god.
a response. Yeah, it was kind of a response to like the 50 Shades movies, which I think
Yeah,
are
yeah.
like pretty problematic and like you know just not a fan of those, and I wanted something that was more sort of grounded in like active consent
Mm,
versus like the sort of like patriarchal pursuit we see in like a 50 Shades where it's almost like there's too much coercion in at least in the first film for my own personal comfort. So I like made a
mm,
short that was like I felt like energetically the opposite of that, and I think I learned a lot about sort of like communicating with my actors and sort of handling eroticism in a way that I don't see often that I kind of wanted to see. And so I felt like, maybe I could lead by example a little bit. And so with this one, it's a similar thing. It's my first time working with an intimacy coordinator. And so,
an
there,
intimacy coordinator. Tell me what
yeah.
what the hell is that?
So it is a fairly new job on set
Mm,
where, someone is responsible for working with like the director and the talent and the crew to sort of like make sure that everybody's on the same page about like the sensitive stuff that is potentially being shot on your set. So so
okay.
you've seen Pretty Pickle. There's a lot of sex in it, and
Uh,
it's not necessarily. I would argue it's not graphic, nor is it gratuitous, but
no.
when you have people that
It's
have
sexual though.
it's
It
it's
is
very
sexual.
it's very sexual,
Yeah.
and then you have to like understand that like everybody is entering into this working relationship
Mm,
with their own sensitivities and sort of I would argue baggage, and so the
mm,
whole like idea is the intimacy coordinator is sort of like a very supportive mediator
mm,
in service of the director and the vision to kind of like, and the comfort level of the talent who are, very much like putting themselves out there,
mm.
literally. And yeah, no, I think it's a great thing that people are starting to do that, it should have probably happened sooner, but I'm glad that
Yeah.
it's sort of like catching on. So it's the kind
Well,
of thing
better
we
late
should
than
keep
never,
doing.
right?
Say what?
Better late than never, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So tell people about the actors of Pretty Pickle, and also on that while we're on that topic, tell people how big your crew was. Tell people about the crew too.
Yeah, we had a pretty, sort of pared down crew because, we shot
Mm,
it last January. We wanted to be as careful with COVID as possible.
mm,
Chicago, where we shot it and where I and my crew are based, has remained historically high in terms of infection rates. So,
mm,
like, we're trying to like keep that in mind, but also, most of the locations are at like a condominium, so you can only have so many people in that space comfortably anyway. So
mm.
we had a crew of like 10. We did not have an assistant director, which was
Hmm.
kind of crazy. So yeah, we didn't have an assistant director. We didn't have a production designer. Thankfully, like the space we shot in, the joinery in Chicago, is pretty like dressed and cool looking anyway. So
Mm.
we didn't have to do much with that. Um, and so yeah, I mean, we were able to make do. We had like 12-hour days blocked out, and I think the longest day we ever worked was like 10 and a half hours. So we were getting done
Okay.
like 3 or 2 hours early every day. So I mean, it's
Nice.
just yeah, it's just sort of like the perfect storm of having like a really awesome hardworking crew, and like everything just kind of fell together, came together really easily and
That's
comfortably, and no one got COVID. So
that's a relief. But tell
yeah.
people about the actors and what they're like. You know,
So yeah,
were they a couple of prima donnas and you had to slap them around, or did they slap you around? How did it work?
they were super cool. There was no slapping, consensual or otherwise. My 2017 film does have consensual face slapping, by the way. So
Oh,
library hours, check it out. It's free online.
nice.
Um,
On
yeah,
Vimeo or
on
YouTube?
Vimeo. It's on my website. Yeah, you don't have to look far to find it. It's also on Short of the Week. No, Film Shortage. So
And what's your Instagram?
my Instagram is at Jim Vendiola, so it's just my first name, last name as one word, all lowercase.
Vendiola.
Correct. Yeah. So
Follow him.
at Jim Vendiola, thank you. Yeah, and so the talent was, they were all really great. I have no complaints. Our lead Brennan Irby is actually, he is a newcomer. I think this is his first short that he has done outside of like kind of his own projects with his friends and stuff.
Hmm,
Um, so it's his first like sort of like big on-screen thing or bigger
nice.
on-screen thing. Whitney Masters is more often a model, and
Hmm,
so she does a lot of modeling work, which is how I met her because my girlfriend is a photographer. So
hmm.
um, Whitney was at our house doing a photo shoot a few years back. That's how I met her. But she's rep now. She's doing more acting work. She was just on Chicago PD. Um,
Damn.
so yeah, she's sort of like kind of caught the acting bug. I think she wants to, do more consistently with that. Uh, I will I will skip over one of the roles who is related to like a spoiler, right? So let's like
Right, okay,
sidestep sidestep that one. And then
yeah.
Nadja Simmons, Samuel's friend in the bar scene, also her very first time on camera for doing a narrative short.
Hmm.
And we actually cast her like 3 days before we had to shoot that scene. So I had very little time with her, and I thought she knocked it out of the park. Like we had someone else drop out, and I just had to like cast her really quickly, and she was like super prepared, super professional, like just far exceeded my expectations for someone like getting assigned a project like 3 days prior. So
Nice.
yeah.
And so tell people like how long did it take to write? How long was pre-production? How long was the shoot? How long was the edit?
So I wrote two drafts. I wrote the first draft in like an afternoon, sent it out to some like a few trusted
Mm,
creatives, got some feedback. Based on that feedback, I sort of tightened it up.
mhm.
And then that same week, I got a like a 3 arts grant for like $4,000. And I was like, oh hey, this is a sign that I should probably like make this like really soon.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was able to like sort of like build on that grant with like funding from other sources, just to sort of like supplement that. So essentially, like I would say I was in pre-production. Well, development was from like October to December, and it just
Mm,
sort of like was a little prolonged because you have the two holidays, you have Thanksgiving and you have Christmas, and like
yeah.
everybody went home, and a lot of people got COVID while they were at home, and so like
Mm,
it was kind of hard sort of scheduling time with the actors to sort of like talk with all of them at once and then talk to them separately and have like bake in some time for them to like talk to one another about their characters and sort of do all that character work. So I would argue that development and pre-pro sort of was like 2.5 months, which I feel like maybe is a long time for a short.
mm,
um, then we shot last January for 4 days,
mm.
and then I was not expecting, I was going to take a break from the edit, but I actually jumped right into the edit because I realized the Tribeca final deadline was like
Ooh.
2.5 weeks after we wrapped.
Uh,
Um, so I like, I burned through and sort of got like a rough cut done.
mm.
I didn't end up getting into Tribeca, but at least, I had to throw my hat in the ring, right? So
Yeah.
yeah. And so, by mid-February, I was like, okay, well, I have this rough cut. I, sort of like tinkered with it, sort of on and off while submitting it to other festivals. Like I think Fantasia got the version of it that was like done in April, in mid-April. So
Mm.
they didn't get a final version either. And so knowing what I know now about what I like about the final cut, I'd say like a lot of the festivals that are accepting it now probably saw it in like an inferior state, which is nice because um, I think they saw the potential in it regardless of like the little tidbits that needed to be finalized. And I actually didn't finish it up until like June 15th, so like 2 weeks before its world premiere in Chattanooga. So
Damn.
yeah,
Very cool. Very cool.
so I took my time with it, and then I kind of had to like ramp up at the end there. So
Well, there we go. Very interesting to know all the I'll get all those details out there. So, okay, let's say Pretty Pickle plays before any movie. Which movie is it going to be?
like any movie, contemporary or not,
Any movie.
I would say Psycho.
Nice.
Yeah, I feel like
Okay.
yeah. I think that's kind of the natural pairing.
Nice. Okay, there we go. And you don't feel the need to elaborate. We'll just leave it like that. People can see it and then they can judge for themselves.
Fair, yeah.
Whether that makes sense. Or Night of the Living Dead would make sense too.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, bless Romero for not having a copyright on that thing. We get
Ah,
to
yeah.
feature as much of it as we want. So,
Yeah, that's a funny story. So, would you expand and make this a feature film?
someone on Letterboxd said that that was their only complaint, that it was not a feature. Um,
Oh,
but I feel like most people appreciate how um, most people seem to like how tight the storytelling is.
mm,
So I think a feature might lose that kind of uh, sustained mystery. Um,
mm.
you really don't know what's coming, and when it does, I think that's about as long as like mentally you should wait to
Okay.
learn what you learn by the end. I think
The conceit would
maybe.
have to be different, and it would be like a different thing, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, I think,
Yeah.
I think the characters would, they obviously they'd have to be fleshed out more, and I don't
Mm,
know. I mean, I'm sure you could fill a feature film with like these modern relationship, like these relatable sort of paranoias.
you're right.
But I haven't thought enough to think about if that's like worthwhile. I haven't seen it as a feature, but never say never, I guess.
Okay, Jim, thanks a lot for your time.
Yeah.
What's your next power move?
So yeah, I am developing a feature which is based on a horror novel called Waif. Which,
Okay.
if you have not read Waif, check it out. It is a queer body horror, like fucking.
Yeah.
It's a really wild ride, and I am developing that with the author herself, Samantha Koliesnik. Um,
Nice.
yeah, and hopefully we can roll cameras on that next year. I'm excited about that. And right now I'm also developing a TV show for Warner Media, a neo noir sort of like serial killer, messed up crime thing. So
Goddamn, busy man.
yeah, 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 for sure.
All right, Jim, lots of luck.
Hey, thanks, Michael. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.